Welcome to the Discworld. Not a spherical world like yours, but flat, like a pizza. No anchovies, though. This world is held aloft on the backs of 4 enormous elephants. They do have names, but as you won't be talking to them, I wouldn't worry about it. These elephants, in turn, stand on the meteor-pocked shell of the giant star turtle, the great twin. Disc philosophers have postulated for many years as to where the turtle is going. Some say it is going to meet other turtles, to mate. This is known as the Big Bang Theory. Many of these same philosophers have postulated that the odds of a world such as this actually existing are millions to 1. Wizards have, after many hours of torturous research and many bottles of wine, also concluded that 1,000,000 to 1 chances happen 9 times out of 10. Ankh-Morpork is the largest city on Discworld. Lancre is not. This is where we lay our scene.
Babysitting for our Jason's youngest. I can do Friday. Tell me up with that tea, love. I'm that parched.
You said it quite well. Just a bit more work on the screeching. Ain't that right, Lenny-O?
Oh, very useful screeching, I thought, Granny Weatherwax. And I can see that Goody Whimper, may she rest in peace, gave you a lot of help with that squint, Matt Grant.
It's a good squint.
Thank you. I'm glad we decided to form this coven.
Coven. Like the old days, meeting. Something comes.
Can you tell by the pricking of your thumbs?
The pricking of my ears. Goody Wember was an excellent witch in her own way, but far too fanciful.
Woof beats. No one would come up here at this time of night.
What's to be afraid of?
Us.
It's all right.
You will give him to me.
No.
You are witches. Does the skin of witches turn aside steel?
Not that I'm aware. You could give it a try.
Sir, with respect, sir.
Be silent!
But sir, it's terribly...
Must I ask you again?
But sir!
Ha! Missed! Your peasant's magic is for fools, Mother of the Night. I shall strike you down where you stand.
Then strike, man. If your heart tells you, strike as hard as you dare.
Oh.
I couldn't let... He shouldn't have... Don't kill me now.
You did what you thought was right.
I didn't become a soldier for this, not to go around killing people.
Exactly right. If I were you, I'd become a sailor. Yes, a nautical career I should start as soon as possible. Now, in fact. Run off, man. Run off to the sea where there are no tracks. You will lead a long and successful life, I promise. At least longer than it's likely to be if you hang around here. Now, will someone please tell me what's going on?
Perhaps they were bandits. Strange. They both wear the same badge. Anyone know what it means?
Oh, that's the badge of King Baron.
Who's who?
He rules this country.
Oh, that King Barrett.
Oh, it's a baby. A baby boy.
Anything else in there?
There's this.
Bloody hell. First, we've got to get him out of here, a long way away where no one knows who he is. And then there's this.
Oh, that's easy. You just hide it under a rock or something. Much easier than babies.
It isn't. The reason being the country's full of babies and they all look the same, but I don't reckon there's many crowns. They have this way of being found anyway. They call out to people's minds. If you bunged it under a rock here, it'd get itself discovered by accident. You mark my words.
It's true that. How many times have you thrown a magic ring into the deepest depths of the ocean, and then when you get home and have a nice bit of turbot for your tea, there it is?
Never, and nor have you. Anyway, you might want it back. It's rightfully his, that is. King set a lot of store by crowns, you know. Really think that sometimes you say the most... What's that smell?
I'll just see if there's some clean rags, eh?
What would happen if we buried it? The baby? The crown?
A badger would dig it up. Or someone would go prospecting for something. Or a tree would tangle its roots around it and then get blown over in a storm, and someone would come along and put it on. It isn't the putting them on that's the problem, it's the taking them off.
It's not even as if it looks like a crown.
Oh, you've seen a lot, I expect. You'd be an expert on them, naturally.
Seen a fair few, but they've got more jewels and cloth bits in the middle.
Maggot garlic!
I have. When I was being trained by Goody
May
Wemper,
she rest in peace.
may she rest in peace, she used to take me over to Razorback and Lanka whenever the strolling players were in town. She was very keen on the theatre. They had more crowns than you could shake a stick at. But Goody said they were just made of tin and paper and stuff, and just glass for the jewels. But they look more realer than this one. Do you think that's strange?
Things that try to look like things often do look more like things than things. Well-known fact. But I don't hold with encouraging it. What do they stroll around playing then in these crowns?
Don't you know about the theatre?
Oh, yes. It's one of them kinds of things, is it?
Goody Wemper said it held a mirror up to life, and it always cheered her up.
I expect it would. Played properly at any rate. Good people are they, these theatre players?
I think so.
They stroll about the country, you say?
All over the place. There's a troupe in Lanka now, I hear. But I haven't been, because, you know, 'tis not right for a woman to go to such places on her own.
Right. Why not? Go and tell Geetha to wrap the baby up well. It's been a long time since I heard a theatre played properly.
Certainly, my dear.
What?
I'll have some cut down and brought in directly.
Cut what down?
Oh, the trees!
What have the trees got to do with it? What I said was, how could you have been so stupid as to let them get away? Told you that servant was far too loyal. Can't trust someone like that.
Yes, my love.
Don't suppose you considered sending someone after them?
Benzel, my dear, and another guard.
Oh. Well, you wouldn't have had to go at all if only you'd listened to me. Of course you never do.
Do what, my passion?
For God's sake, leave your hands alone! Washed them 5 times in the last half an hour.
I can't seem to get rid of the blood. Where's the crown? I must find it.
Your Majesties, and the baby was taken by witches.
Witches.
Oh yes, Your Majesty, we have them all right, lots.
And people don't do anything about them. They tolerate them.
My word, yes. It's considered good luck to have a witch living in your village.
Why?
They smooth out life's little humps and bumps.
Where I come from, they don't allow witches. And I don't propose to allow them here either. You'll furnish me with their addresses.
Your Majesty,
I trust your tax gatherers know where to find them.
I trust they do pay taxes.
not exactly pay taxes, my lord. It's more like they don't pay. The old king didn't think. They just don't.
I see. You may go, Sergeant.
Well,
Indeed.
so that was how your family used to run a kingdom, was it? You had a positive duty to kill your cousin, clearly in the interest of the species.
Quite so. Of course, there appear to be many witches, and it might be difficult to find the 3 that are on the moor.
That doesn't matter.
Of course not.
Well, put matters in hand.
Yes, my petal. Sergeant!
Yes, my lord.
Go into the town and bring me a witch. In chains, if necessary. What?
Yes, my lord. Well, so that's theatre, is it? Very interesting. I wonder how they get all them kings and lords to come here and do all this. I'd have thought they'd be too busy. Ruling and similar.
No, I still don't think you quite understand. They're just actors, you see.
Evening.
You're dead!
May I assist you, good ladies?
I know you. You've done the murder. Leastways it looked like it.
It is always a pleasure to meet a true connoisseur. Alvin Vitola at your service, manager of this band of vagabonds.
Yes, well.
I thought you was very good too.
I couldn't upset things.
Oh, my dear lady, can I begin to tell you how gratifying it is for a mere mummer to learn that his audience has seen through the grease paint to the spirit beneath?
I expect you could. I expect you could say anything, Mr. Vitola.
And now, to what do I owe this visit from three such charming ladies?
We'd like to talk to you, Mr. Vitola, and Mrs. Vitola.
Here she is. How may we help you?
Mrs. Vitola, may I be so bold as to ask if your union has been blessed with fruit?
She may.
No, I see. We had a little girl once.
Only you see there is this child, and he needs a home.
Oh, it is no life for a child in the theatre. They're always moving, always a new town, and no room for schooling. They say that's very important these days.
Why does he need a home?
He hasn't got one, at least not one where he'd be welcome.
And you who asked this about their being here?
Godmothers.
Money is, alas, tight.
But it will stretch.
Yes, I think it will. We shall be happy to take care of him.
This should take care of nappies and such like, clothes and things, whatever.
100 times over, I should think. Why didn't you mention this before?
If we'd had to buy you, you wouldn't be worth the price.
But you don't know anything about us.
No, we don't, do we? Naturally, we'd like to hear how he gets along. You could send us letters and such like, but it would be a good idea not to talk about this after you've left. You see? For the sake of the child.
There's something else here, isn't there? There's something big behind all this. It would do us no good at all to know.
What's his name?
Tom.
John.
Tom John. We'll come back with the boy.
I found a box. It had all these crowns and things in. So I put it in, like you said, right underneath everything. Good. Our crown looked really tatty compared to all the others.
Did anybody see you?
No, they're all too busy. But
Yes.
after I'd hidden it, a man came up behind me and pinched me on the bottom. and then he said,
What did he say?
he said, "Hello, my lovely. What are you doing tonight?"
Old Goody Rebel didn't get out and about much, did she?
It was her leg, you know.
Oh, but she taught you about midwifery and everything.
Oh, yes, that's what
But she never talked to you about what you might call the prigs.
Sorry.
You know, men.
What about them?
I think it might be a good idea if you're quite where you hang on one of these days. Fairly soon.
She did what?
Gave me a cup of tea, sir.
And what about your men?
Gave them one too, sir.
Sergeant.
Sir?
I mean, is it possible I may have confused you? What I meant to say was, bring me a witch in chains, if necessary. But perhaps what I really said was, go and have a cup of tea! Was this in fact the case?
No, sir.
I wonder why you did not in fact do this thing that I asked.
Sir?
I expect she said some magic word, did she? I've heard about these witches. I imagine she offered you visions of an earthly light. Did she show you dark fascinations and forbidden raptures, the like of which mortal men should never know? Demonic secrets that took you to the depths of men's desires.
Are you alright, sir?
Oh, perfectly.
Are you gone already?
Don't change the subject, man! Admit it! She offered you licentious and hedonistic pleasures known only to those who dabble in the carnal arts. Didn't she?
No, sir. She offered me a bun.
A bun.
Yes, sir. It had currants in it.
What did your men do about this?
They had a bun too, sir. All except for young Roger, who isn't allowed fruit, sir, on account of his trouble. He had a biscuit. Sir?
I see. You may go, Sergeant. Boom!
Marry!
I'm already extremely married, my fool. Advise me.
In faith, nuncle.
Nor am I thine uncle. If you preface the next remark with faith, nuncle or married, it will go hard on you.
How do you feel about prithee?
Pretty. Pretty I can live with, so can you, but no capering. How long have you been a fool, boy?
Prithee,
The
sirrah!
Syrah on the whole, I think not.
Prithee, sir. All my life, sir. 17 years under the blood of man and boy, and my father before me, and my uncle at the same time as him, and my
The
grandfather.
whole family have been fools?
Family tradition, sir.
So you come from these parts, do you?
I suppose so, sir.
So you would know about the native customs and so on.
Yes, sir, prithee.
Tell me about the witches, fool.
But not now. Well, where are the witches?
It seems that the sergeant would be right, my dear. The witches had the local people in thrall. He came back empty-handed.
You must have him executed to make an example to the others.
A course of action, my dear, which would ultimately see us ordering the last guard to cut his own throat as an example to himself. By the way, there seem to be fewer servants around than usual.
Housekeeping is under my control. I cannot abide slackness. Well, what of the witches? Will you stand idly by and let trouble seed for the future? Will you let these witches defy you? What of the crown?
Supposedly it ended up in the river.
And the child who was given to the witches? They do human sacrifice.
Apparently not. These witches apparently cast a spell on people.
Well, obviously.
Not like a magic spell. People seem to respect them. They do medicine and so on. It could prove difficult to move against them.
I could come to believe they've cast a glamour over you as well. In fact, you like it, don't you? The thought of the danger. I remember when we were married, all that business with the knot.
Not at all!
And what will you do?
Wait.
Wait.
Wait and consider. Patience is a virtue.
Good evening.
Well met by moonlight, merry meet, a star shines on...
Anyway, how goes it, sisters?
If we're going to start, we'd better light the candles.
Candle.
And make it a decent white one, nothing fancy. Now, what about this new duke?
He had some houses burned down in Badass because of the taxes.
Oh, terrible.
Old King Verence used to do that. Terrible temper he had.
He used to let the people out first, though.
Oh, yes, he could be very gracious like that. He paid for them to be rehoused as often as not, if he remembered. And then there was that great hairy thing of his.
Yes, his droit de seigneur.
Needed a lot of exercise.
But the next day he sent his housekeeper round with a bag of silver and a hamper full of stuff for the wedding. Many a couple got a proper start in life thanks to that.
What are you two talking about? Did he keep pets? Did you know that no one is allowed to say that Thelma killed the king? He had some people murdered the other day in Lanka, spreading malicious lies, he said. He said that Verence died of natural causes.
Well, being assassinated is natural causes for a king. I think we better keep an eye on this one. I think he might be a bit clever, and that's not a good thing in a king. And he don't know how to show respect.
A man came to see me last week to see if I wanted to pay taxes. I told him no.
He came to see me too. Only our Jason and our Wayne went out and told him we didn't want to join.
Small man, black cloak.
Yes.
He was hanging around in my raspberry bushes, only when I went out to see what he wanted, he ran away.
Well, actually, I gave him tuppence. He was going to be tortured, you see, if he didn't get the witches to pay their taxes.
Tell me, fool, does it always rain here?
Marry.
Just answer the question.
Sometimes it stops, sir, to make room for the snow. And sometimes we get some right swandering orderless fogs.
August?
Thick, my lord. From the litation or gallows suitable broad.
Bored, fool.
Let me entertain you, sir, with maybe a very quick night's jest.
Try me. I'm waiting, make me laugh.
Why, sirrah, why may a cold field horse be deemed a hiring brother to a candle in the night? Withal, because a field horse may be cold, yet a candle be without fat allier.
Yes, then what happened?
That was by way of being the whole thing, my lord. My grandfather thought it was one of his best.
I dare say he told it differently. What's happening? Is it an earthquake?
We don't have any of these parts, my lord.
It's the witches in the zone to get near them!
My lord!
They run this country, don't they?
No, my lord! They don't.
Who asked you?
You did, my lord!
You arguing with me?
No, my lord!
I thought so! You're in league with them, I suppose!
My lord!
You're all in league with them, you people! I'm king! Do you hear me? I'm king. Me. Is that a dagger I see before me?
No, my lord, it's my handkerchief. You can sort of tell the difference if you look closely. It hasn't got so many sharp edges.
Good fool. Are you loyal, fool? Are you trustworthy?
I swore to follow my lord until death.
I didn't want to do it. They made me do it. I didn't want to. Yes, my dear.
What was that earthquake?
Oh, the witches, I suppose.
So they still defy you.
How should I fight magic?
Words.
Words?
In the guild, we learned that words were more powerful even than magic.
Clown, words are just words, brief syllables. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
My lord, there are such words that can. Liar, usurper, murderer. Such words have no truth, but they can burn like fire underground, breaking out and burning.
It's true, it's true. I hear them all the time. Fine, it's the witches.
Then they can be fought with other words. Words can fight even witches.
What words?
Groan, even I. Stupid old woman.
You're not entirely an idiot, are you? You refer to rumour.
Just so, my lady.
It's the witches. We must tell the world about the witches. They're evil. They make it come back. The blood, even sandpaper doesn't work.
What have I got myself into? I never wanted to be a fool, you know. It just sort of happened. First thing I remember is my grandfather standing over me, making me repeat the jokes by rote, hammering home every punchline with his belt. He was accredited with 7 official new jokes, you know. He won the Grand Prix des Idiots in Ankh-Morpork 3 years in a row. When I was 7, I tried to make up a joke. When I told my grandfather, he gave me the biggest thrashing of my life. He said, "You will learn, laddie, that there is nothing more serious than jesting. Never, ever, ever utter a joke that has not been approved by the guild. Never, ever, ever let me catch you joculating again." Oh.
Extremely worrying developments of a magical tendency are even now afoot.
Well, we'd better have a look then. I think we should join hands. Is the the door shut?
What are you going to try?
I always say you can't go wrong with a good invocation.
Oh.
Haven't done one for years.
But you can't. Not here. You need a cauldron. And a magic sword and an octagram and spices and all that stuff.
It's not her fault. It's all them grimmers she bought.
Grimoires?
You don't need none of that. You just use whatever you got. Right. We conjure and abjure thee by means of this weighty and terrible rolling pin.
See how we scatter some rather old washing soda and some extremely hard soap flakes. Really, Nanny, I don't think that...
And I invoke and bind thee with a bold and scrubbing brush of a hat and a flask of protection.
Honesty is all very well, but somehow it just isn't the same.
You listen to me, girl. Demons don't care about the outward shape of things. It's what you think that matters. Get on with it.
Well,
Who are you?
my name is unpronounceable in your tongue, woman.
I'll be the judge of that. Don't you call me woman.
Very well. My name is Wyrd Sisters.
Where were you when the vows were handed out behind the door?
Very well, Mr. What's? I expect you're wondering why we called you in here tonight.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to
Shut
say
up. With the sword of art and the octagram protection here, I warn you.
Suit yourself. They look like a scrubbing brush and a rolling pin to me. You're allowed 3 questions.
We must be very careful. Demons always tell the truth, but only as much as they need to. We must phrase our questions very carefully. Is there something strange at large in the kingdom?
You mean stranger than usual? No, there is nothing strange.
Is there something in the kingdom that wasn't there before?
No.
What the hell's going on? And no mucking about trying to wriggle out of it, otherwise I'll boil you. Margaret, just go fetch that.
I protest at this treatment.
Yes, well, I haven't got time to bandy legs with you all night. These word games might be all very well for wizards, but we've got other fish to fry.
Or boil?
Look, there are rules, you know. We're not supposed to volunteer information just like that.
There's some old oil in the can in the shed.
If I was to simply tell you,
Yes.
you wouldn't let on, would you?
Not a word.
My lips are sealed.
There is nothing new in the kingdom, but the land has woken up.
What do you mean?
Well, it's unhappy. It wants a king that cares for it.
You don't mean the people, do you? No, I didn't think so.
What?
Can you tell us why?
I'm just a demon. What do I know? Only what it is, not the why and how of it.
I see.
Can I go now? Please?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Run along.
You wouldn't mind banishing me, would you? Well, only I'd feel better if I was properly banished. It's just that run along lacks that certain something.
Well, if it gives you pleasure. Margaret, do the honours, will you?
Certainly. Right, okay.
Begone, foul fiend, unto the blackest pit! Well, I wonder if that's why Grebo's vanished.
Cats can look after themselves. Countries can't. Duke Thomond hates the kingdom. The villagers say that when he goes to see them, he just sits there and stares and rubs his hands and twitches.
Old King Verence used to shout and kick them out of the castle. But he was always very gracious about it. You felt he meant it. People like to feel their value.
The kingdom is worried. You heard what the demon said. This morning when I opened my door, there were all the animals of the forest just stood outside.
What did they say?
Nothing. Animals, aren't they? Knew what they wanted, though. Rid of the king. They were sent by the kingdom, the land itself. It doesn't care if the people are good or bad, but it expects the king to care for it.
A bit like a dog, really. A dog doesn't care whether its master's good or bad, so long as it likes the dog.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Nothing. You know we can't meddle.
You saved the baby.
That's not meddling.
Have it your way, but maybe one day he'll come back. Destiny again!
Right.
You know the fool who lives up in the castle?
Little man with runny eyes.
Not that little. What's his name? Do you happen to know?
He's just called Fool. No job for a man, that. Running around with bells on.
His mother was a beldam from over Blackglass Way. Bit of a beauty when she was younger. Broke many a heart she did. Bit of a scandal there I did hear. Think he was named after his master the king. Verence. Granny's right though, at the end of the day a fool's a fool.
Why do you want to know, Margaret?
Oh, one of the girls in the village was asking me.
Granny's right though. It's a steady job.
Huh, a man who tinkles all day. No kind of husband for anyone, I'd say.
Well, you'd always know where he was.
Never trust a man with horns on his hat.
You two are a pair of silly old women, and I'm going home.
Well.
Quite comfortable, are we?
Apart from these stocks, you mean?
I'm impervious to your foul blandishments. I scorn your devious wiles. You are to be tortured, I'll have you know.
And then you will be burned.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's pretty freezing down here. What's that big wardrobe thing with the spikes?
Aha! Now you realise. That, my dear woman, is the Iron Maiden. It's the latest thing. Well made.
Oh, can I go in it?
Your please fall on deaf ears. What?
This associates gives you pleasure. Soon you'll be laughing on the other side of your face.
It's only got this side.
We shall see.
And you need not think that any others will come to your aid. We alone hold the keys to this dungeon. You'll be an example to all those who've been spreading malicious rumours about me. Hear them all the time. Lying.
Come on, Viola. We'll let her reflect on her fate for a while.
Faces. Wicked lies. I wasn't there. And anyway, he fell.
All right. I can see you. Who are you? Oh, it was all I could do to keep a straight face with you making faces behind his back.
I wasn't making faces, woman.
I was scolded.
Oh. Here, I know you. You're dead. You're the late King Verence.
I prefer the term passed over. I'm afraid it was I who borrowed your cat. I knew you'd come looking for it.
What's that big bed thing over there?
Oh, the rack.
Oh. I suppose you're no good at locks.
But surely to which this is all so much...
Solid iron. You might be able to walk through it, but I can't.
I didn't realise. I thought witches could do magic.
Oh, young man, you will oblige me by shutting up.
Madam, I am king!
You are also dead, so I would just might hold any opinions if I were you. I spy with my little eye something beginning with P.
Clive?
No,
Hillywinks.
that's a pretty name. What's that?
It's a kind of thumbscrew.
No.
Choke pear.
That begins with a C. And anyway, I don't know what it is. I think you're a bit begin with the showing of the implements. Seen them. Leastways, the ones beginning with P, S, I, T, and W.
Then let us see how long you can keep that light conversational tone.
Is this going to take long? I haven't had breakfast.
Now, woman, will you confess?
Oh, what to?
It's common knowledge. Treason, malicious witchcraft, harbouring the king's enemies, theft of the crown, and spreading false rumours.
What false rumours?
About the accidental death of late King Barons.
Oh, I don't know nothing false. I know that you stabbed him, and you named him the dagger. It was at the top of the stairs, by the armour with the pike, and you said if it's going to be done, it's better if it's done quickly, or something. And then you took the king's own dagger.
You lied! There were no witnesses we made. There was nothing to witness. I heard someone in the dark, but there was no one there.
Shut up, Talbot.
Who told her? Did you tell her?
Of course, I didn't tell her. She's a witch. They know these things. Second glance or something.
Sight?
Which you will not possess much longer, my good woman, unless you tell me who else knows and indeed assist me on a number of other matters. And now we will begin. Your friends can't help you now.
There's a witch in the dungeons and foul tortures, they say.
Nonsense. I expect Lady Og's just gone in to advise the king or something.
Oh, they say Jason Og's gone to fetch his brothers.
I really advise you to return home. There has probably been a huge misunderstanding. Everyone knows a witch cannot be held against a will.
Oh, it's gone too far this time. All this burning and taxing and now this. I blame you, witches. It's got to stop. I know my rights.
And what rights are there?
Dunnage, bandage, cowage in ordinary, scrummage, clary and spot, and the right to keep 2/3 of a goat on the common. Until he set fire to it. It was a bloody good goat too.
A man can go far knowing his rights like you do. But right now, you should go home.
I am a harmless old seller of apples. Pray let me pass, dearie.
No one must enter the castle. Orders of the Duke.
I know you, Chad Foldy. I recall I laid out your granddad and I brought you into this world. I gave you your first hiding in this vale of tears, and by all the gods, if you cross me now, I will give you your last. Don't worry about it. Have an apple.
So that's witch's magic, is it? Pretty poor stuff. Maybe it frightens these country idiots, but it doesn't frighten me.
I imagine it takes a lot to frighten a big, strong lad like you.
Don't you try to put the wind up me neither. Old ladies like you, twisting people around, shouldn't be stood for like they say.
Just as you like.
Hey, listen, I said... Oh!
Oh my God.
I've come to sell my lovely apples.
Well, there's not a sale on, is there? Here, you're not a witch, are you?
Of course not. Do I look like one?
Right. Pass, apple seller.
Would you like an apple?
No thanks. Haven't finished the one the other witch not a witch. Apple seller gave me.
How long ago was this?
Just a few minutes. Yes, apple seller. She should know.
Oh, well, well. Come to keep us company of you, my pretty.
I was looking for the dungeons.
Oh, just fancy. I reckon we can help you there.
I think I should warn you. I'm not, as I may appear, a simple apple seller. I am, in fact, a witch.
Fair enough. I've always wondered what it was like to kiss a witch. Round here they do say you gets turned into a frog.
I reckon then you kissed one years ago. Hey, no!
Oi, just a minute! Now, you ain't the first one to come round here, but you could be lucky and walk out of here alive. If you're nice to us, that is. Oh, what have we here? A knife! I think we've got to take this seriously, don't you, Ron?
You got to tie your hands and gag her. That way they can't do their magic when they can't speak or wave their hands about.
You stop that this minute! Let go of her! Or I'll report you.
Now, this is a witch we've got here, so you can go and tinkle somewhere else. I like a girl with spirit.
I said let go of her!
I bet you're wondering whether I'd really cut your throat or not. I don't know either. Think of the fun we could have finding out. Right, now, run away! Right, where is she?
It's locked.
Well, it's a dungeon, isn't it?
Yes, but it's not meant to be locked from the inside. Are you really a witch? That is, you don't look like one. I mean, not like an old crone at all, but absolutely beautiful.
I think you'd better stand back, Vance. I'm not sure how this is going to work.
How did you know my name?
Oh, I expect I heard it somewhere.
I shouldn't think so. I never use it. It's not a popular name with the Duke. It was me man, you see. They like to name you after kings, I suppose. Is that it?
Wait, it's not over yet. Good technique, but it's all old wood. A lot of iron nails and stuff in there. Can't see it working.
Took your time? Let me out of this, will you? I'm getting cramped.
All this time, I never knew it. They bloody wanted me with your bloody dagger.
Isn't that the old king? Can they see him?
Shouldn't think so.
Guards! Full fetch the guards!
They're busy. We were just leaving. Are you the Duke? I'm going to give you no cause, but it would be better for you if you left this country. Abdicate or whatever.
In favour of who? A witch?
I won't.
What did you say?
I said I won't. Did you think a simple bit of conjuring would frighten me? I am king by right of conquest, and you cannot change it. It is simple as that. If you defeat me by magic, magic will rule. You can't do it. The king raised with your hand will be under your power. Have written, I might say. That which magic rules, it destroys. It would destroy you too. You could strike me down. Perhaps you could even replace me, but he would have to be a fool indeed, because he would be under your evil eye. And if he displeased you, why, his life would be instantly forfeit. You could protest all you wished, but he would know he ruled with your permission. That would make him no king at all. Is that not true? I said, is that not true?
Yes. Yes, it is true. But there is one who could defeat you.
The child! Let him come when he's gone. A man with a sword to seek his destiny. Very romantic, but I have years to prepare. Let him try. Get back to your cauldrons, Wyrd Sisters.
We could give it boils or something. Hemorrhoids are good. That doesn't stop him rolling. It just means he has to roll standing up. Oh, I should throw out that. Oh, it'd probably make it worse. Same as toothache.
I ain't gonna give him the pleasure of saying it, but he's got us beaten.
Oh, I don't know. Our Jason and a few lads.
You saw some of his guards. These aren't the old sort, these are a tough kind.
Well, we could give them a little bit of help.
It wouldn't work. If People have to sort this sort of thing out for themselves. Magic's there to be ruled, not to do the ruling.
Can I see you again?
Oh, I'm rather busy tonight.
Tomorrow night then?
I think I should be washing my hair.
I could get Friday night free.
We do a lot of work at night, see?
In the afternoon then?
Well,
Please, in the afternoon, in the meadow by the pond, all right?
well,
I'll see you there then, all right?
Oh!
I've got to go. I'll see you there, all right?
all right.
Ismay, there's someone here to see you.
Varens, King of Lanka. Do I have the honor of addressing Granny Weatherwax, Doyen of Witches? I beg you, Granny Weatherwax, to restore my son to the throne.
It's meddling, you see.
You're not going to help.
Well, naturally one day when your lad is a bit older.
Where is he now?
We saw him safe out of the country, you see.
Very good family.
Not common as I trust.
Absolutely not. Not common at all. Very uncommon.
That was lesbians.
Oh, good.
Were they? I didn't look at.
Don't show your ignorance any longer. Sorry about that, Your Majesty. It's just her showing off. She don't even know where Thespia is.
All right, Pratchett. I hope they know how to school a man in the arts of war. I know, Velvet. In 10 years, you'll be dug in like a toad in a stone. Oh, what kind of world will we come back to? Will you watch it change over the years? Become shoddy and mean? Remember, good sisters, the land and the king. Oh, what?
One what? We've got to do something. Rules or no rules, I'll bloody well show you what a witch
Oh,
can do.
yes, maybe later.
Wyrd Sisters, indeed. We'll meet on the heath tonight and decide what must be done.
Whatever happened to not meddling in politics?
Well, as you progress in the craft, you'll find there's another rule. Esme's obeyed it all her life.
And what's that?
When you break rules, break them good and hard.
It worked. The people muttered against the witches. How'd you do it, fool?
Jokes, Nuncle. And gossip. The people are halfway ready to believe it anyway. Everybody respects the witches. The truth is, nobody actually likes them very much.
This is very pleasing. If it goes on like this, fool, you shall have a knighthood.
If I had a knighthood, why, it would keep my ears warm in bed. In faith, if many a knight is a fool...
Yes, all right.
It would seem that words are extremely powerful.
Indeed, lady.
You must have made a lengthy study.
Words can change the world.
So you have said before, I remain unconvinced. Strong men change the world. Strong men and their deeds. Words are like marzipan on a cake. Of course, you think words are important. You are weak and have nothing else.
Your ladyship is wrong.
You'd better be able to substantiate that comment.
The Duke wishes to chop down the forest. Is this not so?
The trees talk about me. I hear them whisper when I go riding. They tell lies about me.
But this policy has met with fanatical opposition.
What?
The people don't like it.
What does that matter? We rule. They'll do what we say or they'll be piteously executed.
But, my love, we'll run out of people.
No need. No need. What you do is you embark on a far-reaching and ambitious plan to expand the agricultural community, provide long-term employment in the sawmills, open new land for development, and reduce the scope of banditry.
How do I do all that?
You chop down the forest.
But you said...
Shut up, Filman. Exactly how does one go about knocking over the houses of people one does not like?
Urban clearance.
I was thinking of burning them down.
Hygienic urban clearance.
And sowing the ground with salt.
Marry, I suspect that is hygienic urban clearance with a program of environmental improvements. It might be a good idea to plant a few trees as well.
No more trees!
It's all right, they won't live. The important thing is to have them planted.
But I also want to raise taxes.
Nuncle.
I'm not your uncle.
Nuns?
No.
You need to finance your ambitious program for the country.
Sorry.
He means that chopping down trees costs money. Intriguing, but can your words change the past?
More easily, I think, because the past are just memories, and memories are words. Who knows how a king behaved 1,000 years ago? There's only recollection in stories. And plays, of course.
I saw a play once. Bunch of funny fellows in tights. Lot of shouting. The people really liked it. But you say history is what people are told.
Look, Chadwick the Good. Was he? We'll never know now. What was he good at? But he will be Chadwick the Good until the end of the world.
I want to be a good ruler. I want people to like me.
Suppose there were matters subject to controversy, matters of historical record that have been clouded.
I didn't do it. He slipped and fell. That's it. He attacked me in self-defense. That's it. He slipped on his own dagger and fell in self-defense. I have no recollection of it at this moment.
Be quiet, husband. I know you didn't do it. I wasn't there with you, you might recall. It was I who didn't hand you the dagger. And now, Paul, I was saying there might be some things that should be properly recorded.
But Mary, that you were not there at the time.
But where?
Anywhere.
So long as you remember it. Reality is only weak words, you say, and therefore words are reality, but can words become history?
It was a very good play. A lot of fighting, but no one really died. Some very good speeches, I thought.
Paul,
Lady?
can you write a play? A play that will go around the world. A play that will exist long after rumours have died.
No, lady, it is a special talent.
Well, can you find someone who hasn't?
There are such people, my lady. In Ankh-Morpork, mayhap.
Find one. Find the best. The truth will out. Find one!
We ain't gonna curse anyone. It hardly ever works if they don't know you've done it.
What you do is you send him a doll of himself with pins in it.
No, Peter.
All you have to do is get a hold of some of his hair.
No.
Or some of his toenails, or anything. I've got some pins.
No.
Cursing people is very unsound and extremely bad for your karma.
Well, I'm going to curse him anyway, under my breath, like. I could have caught my death in that dungeon for all he cared.
We ain't gonna curse him. We're gonna replace him. What did you do with the old king?
But you can't put the old king back on the throne. Ghosts can't rule. You never get the crown to stay on. And it drops through.
We're going to replace him with Varus's son. Proper succession.
Yes, in about 15 years' time, perhaps.
Tonight.
A child on the throne? He wouldn't last 5 minutes.
Not a child. A grown man. Remember Alistair marriage?
Bloody hell, you ain't going to try that again, are you?
I mean to have a go.
Now, see here, Esme, I mean, Black Alice, she was one of the best. I mean, well, you're very good at headology and thinking.
You're saying I couldn't do it, aren't you?
Excuse me, but who is Black Alice? And none of this exchanging meaningful glances and talking over my head. There's 3 of us in this coven, remember?
She was before your time. Before mine, really. She lived over Scund Way. Very powerful witch. She turned a pumpkin into a coach once.
Showy. That's no help to anyone turning up at a ball smelling like a pie. And that business with a glass slipper. Dangerous to my mind.
But the biggest thing she ever did was to send a whole palace to sleep for 100 years until... Oh, can't remember. Was there rose bushes in that one, or was it a spinning wheel? I think some princess had to finger... No, there was a prince, that was it.
Finger a prince?
Oh, no! He had to kiss her. Very romantic was our Black Alice. She liked nothing better than girl meets frog.
Why did they call her Black Alice?
Fingernails.
And teeth. She had a sweet tooth. She lived in a real gingerbread cottage. Couple of kids shoved her in her own oven at the end. Shocking.
And you're going to send the whole castle to sleep.
She never sent the castle to sleep. That's just an old wives' tale. She just stirred up time a little. It's not as hard as people think. It's like rubber is time. People do it all the time. You stretch it to suit yourself.
But time is time. Every second lasts a second. That's what they're for.
How many times have weeks flown past when afternoons seem to last forever? How many times have minutes gone on so slowly when some hours have gone so quickly?
But that's just people's perception, isn't it?
Of course it is. It all is. But what difference does that make? I reckon 15 years will be a nice round number. That means the lad will be 18 at the finish. We can do the spell, go and fetch him. He can manifest his destiny and everything will be nice and neat.
Could work out nice. Bit of peace and quiet for 15 years. If I recall the spell, after you've said it, you have to fly around the castle before cockcrow.
I wasn't thinking of that. Belmont would still be king all that time. The kingdom would still get sick. No, what I was thinking about was moving the whole kingdom.
The whole of Lanka.
Yes.
15 years into the future.
Yes.
You'll never do it. Not on that. Not on your own.
I've thought of that. I'm going to need some help.
Oh, bleeding bloody hell!
You've been a fool long?
All my life, I cut my teeth on a set of bells.
I suppose it gets handed on, father to son.
I never saw much of my father. He went off to be a fool for the lords of Wyrd while I was small.
Oh, terrible. Still, it must be a happy life. Making people laugh, I mean.
No, it's a terribly serious business. The Guild of Fools in Ankh-Morpork is one of the dullest, strictest, most Spartan guilds on the whole Discworld.
Didn't you want to be anything else?
What else was there? There was nothing else I could do. How do you get to be a witch? I mean, do you go to a school or something?
Oh, no. Goody Wemper came down to the village one day, got all us girls lined up, and chose me. You don't choose the craft, you see. It chooses you.
Yes, but when do you actually become a witch?
When the other witches treat you as one, I suppose. If they ever do. I thought they would after that spell in the corridor the other day. It was pretty good after all.
Marriage was a rite of passage. Sorry. The other witches being those two old ladies?
Yes.
Very strong characters, I imagine.
Very. They're quite nice, really. It's just that, well, when you're a witch, you don't actually think about people. I mean, you think about them, but you don't actually think about their feeling, if you see what I mean.
You're not like that.
Look, I wish you'd stop working for the Duke. You know what he's like, torturing people and setting fire to their cottages.
Yes, but I'm his fool right until he dies. I'm afraid it's tradition. Well, tradition's very important.
You don't even like being a fool.
Well, I hate it, but if I've got to be one, I may as well do the best I can.
That's really stupid.
Foolish, I prefer. If I kiss you now, do I turn into a frog?
By the infinite might of the all-powerful great Utwin, the star turtle who supports our Discworld, and by the four great elephants who stand on his meteor-pocked back and hold the world on their mighty shoulders, I conjure the gods of fate, destiny, and time. The kingdom of Lancashire remain frozen while the whole of Discworld moves on 15 years, full and final. Then shall Nemesis come to Felmet, self-styled king of Lanka. Right, we're off.
Does yours still need to be bump started?
I'm afraid so.
Right, there'll be a short interval of like, say, 15 minutes, after which you can come back and watch the second half of the play. I'm in that bit.